94.3 Radio 1, ladies and gentlemen. Nikaland, powered by H&M, Associate Partners, Inc. 5, Hydration Partner, Vedika, and of course, media partners. It's quite lovely to say that. It's quite lovely to have Dot here. At one point of time, there were the syllables as well. Are the syllables?
Oh, yeah. The syllables are just my Insta handle because I really like English.
Yes. And thank God for that because grammatically correct lyrics are such a luxury.
Right. I didn't
Yep.
think of it that way. Yeah.
You have quite ardently fought the onslaught of AI by writing your own songs. Dot, how difficult is it getting to stay true to the music?
I think it's the most easy thing. It's the most natural thing that comes to me. I can't imagine. In fact, anytime I start feeling like my work doesn't align with my values, I freak out and I have to kind of realign myself back to the correct path being indie.
Yes, you've. Those are two boats that you navigated quite well, didn't you? I mean, there was, of course, the Archies, and suddenly people realized that you were making some great music, which you were before that as well. But was that a mixed blessing, or was that lovely to have more people sort of?
I think, I don't know if any of the Archie's audience really translated over to maybe a few, but not a ton, not a huge amount. What it did give me was I learned a lot. I was very physically kind of fit. I learned how to skate, and it was an interesting experience from that point of view, and seeing how a film set works and things like that. But I don't know how it played in with my music because it was a different zone.
Of course,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that zone is quite lovely as far as the indie bit is concerned. I mean, singer-songwriters, especially after COVID, I think music sort of moved into personal spaces, didn't it? I mean, you were consuming and creating music out of your bedroom, etc. We've all grown up because of a shared relation as well with the past, with music being a community experience, so to speak, where you went to a show and you jumped around and you made really bad faces with your friends. And now, of course, it's like, it's a little more absorption. So how do you see that happening?
To be honest, I never grew up going to a ton of gigs. Like I went, only when I was in college did I get to see some of my favorite artists, because the people who would come, like who I knew, the bands I listened to, never came to India. It was always like Akon or someone would come, but like not Lian Lahavas or Katie Tunstall or
True.
people that I really, really looked up to. So when I traveled and I was able to then see gigs that blew my mind, then when I came back, I realized there's actually a world here that I've completely missed out on. And so like a few years back when I returned to India is when I actually dipped my feet into the indie scene in truth.
So,
So I've actually always been a very private listener, and I think that's helped me develop musically as well, because I was the LimeWire generation. So I would download songs. I shouldn't say this, but I would download songs one by one.
Yes.
I didn't listen to albums, but that gave me a real appreciation for individual songs and structure and songwriting, because then I was drawn to the format of the song.
for sure.
So yeah.
And I think the internet also sort of, democratized listening. So there was a lot of the reception for something like that, the more intimate music, I think, was a lot more when you started writing your music. But
Yeah.
was it a little difficult for you to sort of, cut through the clutter, so to speak, because there were so many people who were doing so many things at that time?
When I first started playing,
Yes.
no. My music career started as a complete mistake, in the sense that I posted some videos on YouTube and they blew up, and that's how. And so I was part of the indie scene without being in India. I was really far away, but everybody knew me, and when I would visit home, they would kind of stop me on the street and stuff. So I had a very quick entry, and I'm actually learning everything about the scene now in my adulthood.
To also be fair to your talent, I think it was a great song that you started with, which a lot of people associated with and said, okay, this we can listen to again and again. So, I mean, credit to that where it's due, of course. But also the fact that, I have a feeling that we're living in a world that's becoming increasingly visual, so you need to be seen as
True.
well. So, the listening aspect is a little diluted. Would you agree, disagree? What's your...
I would agree. I think I would agree because, I mean, I don't know, my personal experience has been that even I fall into the trap of putting on recommended playlist and then not even knowing what I'm listening to, you know. Now I'm making a conscious effort. No, go back to that time when it was pure. But I don't think we should be so quick to dismiss the present as well. I think there's plenty of good things that have come out of, I don't think that I would have, like, I worked with a Welsh label. I've worked with people online, and that was something that wasn't possible way back when. So, okay, the visual part, yes, I do think that is true.
Do you ever feel that it was a compromise? That's a little bit of a compromise.
Now it is. It's becoming now.
Excellent.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Excellent. And finally, the the pull of the live audiences versus the seduction of the studio. Which one?
For me, like what I like to do?
Yeah.
Oh, neither. I like writing. I just like being in my room and writing. The rest I've learned how to do, and I have learned to enjoy it. But truly, my heart is when I'm just with the keys and I'm just writing a song.
Absolutely. And what we can certainly say with a lot of confidence is that we've been rewarded with your music, and thank God for that. And cannot wait for the new album to come out. Cannot wait for more of your music. Dot, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
94.3 One World, your station.